My sister was secretly obsessed with me for years. She built a creepy mini replica of my life. Then I found her dark diary and uncovered her twisted plan to replace me. But I took my life back. I've never told this story. Not in full. Not to anyone. People always talk about toxic family like it's just passive-aggressive aunts or gossiping cousins at weddings. But sometimes toxic is too soft a word. Sometimes it's straight up rotted. And when it's someone you grew up with, someone who used to braid your hair and read you bedtime stories, it messes with your mind more than anything else ever could. I guess it starts when I was around 11. That was when I first started noticing things. Not outright bad things, just odd, unsettling behaviors. My cousin Mira was 19 at the time, 8 years older than me, and she'd been living with us for a few months. Her mom, my dad's sister, had died in a car accident, and her dad bailed not long after the funeral. So naturally, my parents took her in. At first, I was thrilled. Mira was like a real-life older sister. She had this mysterious aura about her, always quiet, always watching. She wasn't conventionally pretty, but she had this intense stare, like she was trying to memorize your soul. I admired her in a way that only a lonely 11-year-old could. But soon, that admiration turned into confusion and then fear. The first thing that really got under my skin was the way she would sneak into my room at night. Not every night. Just once or twice a week. I'd wake up and she'd be sitting in the chair near my window, completely still, staring out into the dark. When I asked her what she was doing, she'd just smile and say, "I'm watching over you." Creepy, yeah, but I was a kid. I thought maybe she missed her mom and found comfort being near someone. That was the first sign, I guess. Then there was the journal. I used to keep this glittery pink diary under my mattress. Basic kid stuff. Crushes, fights at school, secrets I didn't want anyone to know. One day I went to write in it and it was gone. I tore my room apart looking for it. And when I finally confronted my mom, she just looked uncomfortable and said, "Maybe you lost it. Things get misplaced." I let it go. Until 2 weeks later, when Mira casually mentioned my crush on this boy named Ryan. I'd never told her. Never even hinted. When I asked how she knew, she just smirked and said, "Girls like us are connected. I feel things." It made my stomach twist. More strange stuff happened in the months after that. My favorite hoodie disappeared and showed up weeks later in her laundry. I started getting blamed for things I didn't do. Broken plates, snarky comments to guests, even stealing money from my dad's wallet. I tried to defend myself, but Mira always managed to be in the right place at the right time to subtly throw me under the bus. She'd say stuff like, "You know, kids lie when they're overwhelmed," or "Maybe she needs a therapist, something's not right." And my parents believed her. Always her. By the time I was 12, I hated being home. I felt like a stranger in my own house. Like someone was slowly rewriting who I was and I couldn't prove it. My own mom looked at me like I was a ticking time bomb. My dad started locking his office door like he didn't trust me anymore. But the worst part? Mira acted like we were best friends. She'd braid my hair and tell me stories about her mom, and sometimes I'd let myself believe maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was just being dramatic. Then I found the box. I was cleaning under Myra's bed one afternoon. My mom had forced me to, and I saw it, this old wooden box with a rusted latch. It wasn't hidden exactly, but it was definitely tucked away like it wasn't meant to be found. Inside were photos. Dozens of them. Of me. Some from family gatherings. Some from school, which was weird because Mira never came to my school. Some were even from my room while I was sleeping. The angles made my skin crawl. They weren't candid. They were calculated. There were also items, strands of my hair tied with red thread, a used tissue I remembered using the day I had a cold, even a button from one of my pajamas. I dropped the box. I couldn't breathe. I told my parents. I showed them the photos, the hair, the evidence. And still, they said, "Myra's been through a lot. Maybe she's just trying to hold on to family the only way she knows how." No consequences. No therapy. Nothing. I started locking my door. I stopped talking to Mira. I avoided her like she was poison. She'd knock sometimes, leave notes under my door, saying things like, "You've changed. You're not my little sister anymore." Damn right I wasn't. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, she moved out. You'd think that was the good part, right? The ending? It wasn't. Because for years after that, my life spiraled. My friendships fell apart. Rumors spread about me at school that I never started, horrible, humiliating stuff. My Instagram got hacked repeatedly and private messages between me and close friends were leaked. Creepy letters showed up in my locker. My passwords were never safe. My parents thought I was doing it all for attention. But I knew it was her. And still, I had no proof. Until last week. I'm 21 now. In college, in a different city, trying to rebuild my life. I hadn't seen or heard from Mira in almost 4 years. I assumed she got bored or finally left me alone. Then I got an email. No subject. Just one sentence. I still have your baby tooth. You don't really think it's over, do you? And attached was a photo. A new one. Taken through my apartment window. From the outside. I don't know what to do. I don't know how she found me. My roommates think I'm being paranoid. I filed a police report, but they're not taking it seriously. I keep looking over my shoulder. I don't sleep properly. I feel watched. All the time. I want to think she's just messing with me. That it's some elaborate joke. But deep down, I know it's her. She's not done. And maybe she never will be. After that email, something in me snapped. I wasn't that scared little 12-year-old anymore. I wasn't the girl begging her parents to believe her. I was a grown-ass woman, and I had receipts now. I combed through everything. My emails, old DMs, photos, anything that could link back to her. I even bought a cheap indoor camera off Amazon and pointed it at my bedroom window, just in case. But the weirdest thing? For a week after that email, nothing happened. No follow-ups. No messages. No sounds at my window. I started doubting myself. Maybe it was an old photo? Maybe someone hacked her email just to mess with me? I let my guard down. That's when the hair started showing up again. At first, I thought it was mine. Long black strands on my pillow. In the bathroom sink. Stuck to my hoodie. But they were too long. Too straight. Myra's hair. I knew the texture like the back of my hand. My roommate Jaya has curly hair. I asked her casually if she'd been using my comb. She looked at me like I was insane. The next day, the camera I had set up? Gone. Just gone. Not stolen, removed. The power cord was unplugged neatly, no signs of struggle. But the SD card was still inside. I played it back. The footage from 2 nights ago stopped at 2:03 a.m. Then just static. For 5 hours. And it picks back up at 7:11 a.m. with a completely still room. There's a single frame right before it cuts that's haunted me since. Mira. Wearing a black hoodie. Just standing at the window. Face completely blank. Eyes locked on the camera. Not even blinking. That's when I knew she was in. Somehow she'd been in my apartment. I called the police again, showed them the frame, the email, everything. They said it could be edited. You might be dealing with a cyberstalker. I asked them to pull fingerprints, but they wouldn't unless I had evidence of a break-in. No broken locks. No forced entry. Nothing. I started sleeping with a knife under my pillow. I took showers with the door unlocked and music off. I stopped wearing headphones. I was constantly on edge, heart racing at every creak of the floorboards. Then last Friday, it escalated. Jaya came home early from a party. I was passed out on the couch. She screamed the second she walked in. I jumped up thinking she was hurt, but she was pointing at the hallway wall. There were photos taped to it. 5 of them. Printed on glossy paper. Photos of me sleeping. One from behind the curtain. One from the foot of the bed. One with my mouth slightly open. One with the knife halfway out of its sheath. And the 5th? It wasn't me. It was her. Mira. Standing right behind me. In my room. Jaya packed a bag and left that night. She was scared out of her mind, and I don't blame her. I haven't heard from her since. I tried getting a restraining order, but I don't know where Mira lives now. I don't know her address. The last record was from when she was in Vermont 2 years ago, working at some shady wellness retreat. They said she left without notice. I finally told my parents everything again. Sent them the photos. They were quiet for a long time. Then my dad said something that chilled me to my bones. She used to do the same thing to her mother. Apparently, Myra's mom once called the cops on her when she was 16. Said she'd woken up with her daughter watching her sleep, whispering things like, "You'll always belong to me." My aunt tried to send her to a facility but was found dead in a car crash before it ever happened. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I'm not sleeping tonight. Or tomorrow. I don't know what she wants. I don't know why she's doing this. But I do know one thing. Mira isn't just watching anymore. She's waiting. And I'm starting to wonder if this ends with her behind bars. Or me in a body bag. Update 1. I finally cracked. After Jaya left and I was alone in the apartment, every creak, every shadow became a scream inside my head. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. I couldn't even brush my teeth without checking behind the shower curtain 5 times. Then 3 nights ago, something changed. I woke up to my front door unlocked. I always lock it. I'm OCD about it even before this mess. But I checked the security latch and it was just dangling. Like someone had gently pushed it out of place. No signs of forced entry. No window open. But on my kitchen counter there was a little gift box. It was wrapped in dark red paper. No name. No note. I stared at it for a good 30 minutes, debating whether to call the cops or just throw it in the trash. But something about the size, it was too familiar. I knew what it was before I even opened it. Inside was a tooth. One of mine. Baby tooth. The one my mom kept in a plastic bag in her jewelry drawer when I was a kid. I recognized the slight chip on the side. She wasn't bluffing. She had it. Which meant at some point she had been in my childhood home, probably years ago. Maybe even when I still lived there. And none of us knew. That's when I stopped waiting for someone to save me. I decided I was going to dig. Mira was never online. No social media, nothing under her name. But I remembered the name of that shady wellness retreat from years ago, River's Edge Renewal. I found their website through some sketchy link archive. The place had shut down 2 years ago, but one of the old reviews had a link to a blog post written by a former employee. She mentioned Mira by her full name, Mira L. Farrow, and said she left after an incident involving boundary issues with a guest's son. I reached out to her. I told her I was Myra's cousin and that Mira might be stalking me. She replied in under 10 minutes. You're not the first person she's done this to. Be careful. She's incredibly manipulative. She knows how to hide in plain sight. We found her in a storage shed once, listening to guests through the walls. I still have the notebook she left behind when she ran. A notebook. I begged her to send me photos of the pages. When I saw them, I almost vomited. It wasn't a journal. It was more like a ritualistic obsession log. Lists of names, dates, drawings of people sleeping. Notes like 8:14 p.m., her eyes fluttered, she dreams of betrayal. She wore green today. That means she's ready. I can feel her soul slipping from my fingers. I must anchor it. And then pages about me. Written in frantic loops of handwriting that got more and more illegible toward the end. She's mine. I loved her before she even formed. I was meant to be her mother, not a cousin. I will be inside her bones. She will carry me. That was the last leg I needed. I brought everything, emails, photos, the tooth, the F***King notebook pages, to a private investigator I found through a Reddit referral. He was ex-law enforcement and didn't look at me like I was crazy. He told me I had enough for a stalking case, but we had to find her now, while she was still circling. So I let him set up surveillance. Hidden cameras. Motion sensors. I agreed to be bait. He called me at 2:17 a.m., 3 nights after we set it up. She's outside your building, wearing a scarf and sunglasses. At night. We didn't confront her. Not yet. He followed her from a distance and watched her enter a seedy little motel off the interstate. Room 16. Paid in cash. Under a fake name. But it was her. The next day we went in, me and him, armed to the teeth with pepper spray, gloves, and body cams. We didn't have a warrant, so we couldn't force entry. But we heard sounds, soft humming from inside. I knocked. She answered. And she smiled like we were at a goddamn tea party. Mira, I said, shaking, why are you doing this? She tilted her head like I was the one being strange. You don't remember? You chose me. When you were little. You asked me to protect you. You said we'd always be together. I was shaking. You've been stalking me for 10 years. She laughed. Actually laughed. That's not stalking. That's love. You just forgot. But I've been keeping all the pieces of you you've dropped. I'm just putting you back together. That was the moment I knew she wasn't just dangerous. She was delusional. We left. The investigator said he'd pull every string to get her committed or at least put under psychiatric hold. But when the authorities came the next morning, room 16 was empty. Everything gone. Even the humming. Except for one thing. A Polaroid on the bed. Me. Sitting on my childhood porch. Holding a drawing I made when I was 5. And written on the back. I kept it. Like I keep everything that matters. She's gone again. And I don't think she'll ever stop. But this time I'm not waiting to. Update 2. It's been 3 weeks since Mira vanished from room 16. No trace. No new sightings. My PI checked traffic cams, gas stations, bus stops, nothing. It was like she slipped into smoke. At first, I was relieved. Maybe she finally gave up. Maybe the confrontation was enough to snap her out of it. But something about the silence felt wrong. Like the air before a thunderstorm. And then the dreams started. They weren't like normal dreams. They were memories only twisted. I'd be in my childhood bedroom, but the furniture would be wrong. The bed too close to the wall. The posters warped, almost melting. And Mira would be there, sitting in the corner, her face blurry, humming. I'd wake up drenched in sweat. Always at 3:17 a.m. Same time. Every night. One night I tried staying awake. I drank coffee, blasted music, did jumping jacks. Anything to fight off the pull of sleep. I still woke up at 3:17. This time with a cut on my thigh. Not deep, but deliberate. Horizontal. Precise. Almost like someone marked me. I rushed to the bathroom trying to rationalize. Maybe I scratched myself. Maybe I bumped into something. But in the mirror, I saw something that made me go still. Written in fog on the glass. Don't forget your part. I hadn't taken a shower. I hadn't run hot water. There was no fog. I started sleeping at a friend's house. Well, crashing on couches, rotating between coworkers who didn't ask too many questions. I didn't want to scare them with the truth. Just said I was going through family drama. But it didn't help. Mira followed me. No matter where I went, the same dream. The same blurry face. The same cut, only in different spots. My wrist. My calf. Once right below my rib cage. Always shallow. Always neat. Then one night, while staying at an old college friend's place, I woke up to find a voice message on my phone. From my own number. It was 6 seconds of static, then Mira whispering. I'm not punishing you. I'm preserving you. I dropped the phone. Couldn't breathe. I showed my friend and even she looked pale. That's not right, she whispered. How would she even spoof your number? I didn't know. But it got worse. The next evening I got a call from my mom. She sounded shaken. She came here, she whispered. To the house. Yesterday. Pretended to be a health worker. I only realized who she was when she mentioned the name of your childhood doll. Lacey. No one remembers Lacey but you. Mira left before my mom could react. No threats. No shouting. Just presence. Like she wanted my mom to know, I can still reach you. I can reach her. That's when I knew I had to dig deeper. I went back home. Back to the house I grew up in. My parents were hesitant, but they let me in. I needed to find something. Anything that could tell me why Mira thought we were bonded. That's when I found it. A box. Hidden in the attic. Inside, old VHS tapes from when I was maybe 3 or 4. One of them was labeled, June 1999, Mira babysits. I didn't remember her babysitting me that young. Ever. In fact, my earliest memory of her is from when I was 6. But I played the tape. The screen was fuzzy at first. Then it cleared and there she was. Mira, maybe 15 at the time, holding toddler me in her lap. She was rocking me. Talking to me. But not in a babysitter way. She kept saying things like, you were meant for me. I prayed and they gave you to the wrong womb. They'll forget. But I won't. I'll always find you again. You're not theirs. You're mine. My skin went cold. At some point, she picked up a pair of scissors. Started cutting pieces of my hair while humming. Said she was saving pieces of my purity. I couldn't watch anymore. I shut it off and just sobbed. She's been obsessed with me since before I even had memory. She wasn't just stalking me now. She was reliving something that started 20 years ago. I called the PI. Told him everything. He said we needed to go public, post her photo, get media attention. But I didn't want to make her angry. I didn't want her to disappear again. I wanted to trap her. So I made a fake Instagram. Posted old photos of me geotagged to my childhood town. Made it seem like I moved back. Made myself look vulnerable. And 3 days later, she bit. A comment appeared on one of the posts. From an account with no followers, no name. Just an eye emoji and the word, home. I screenshot it. Sent it to the PI. He's on his way now. We're setting up tonight. Motion cams. Drones. Even a decoy in the window. My old hoodie stuffed with pillows. If she shows up, it ends tonight. One way or another. Update 3. We set the trap. The decoy in the window looked eerily real, especially under dim light. My old college hoodie, stuffed with a pillow, hair wig pinned to the headrest of a chair. From the outside, you'd swear it was me, hunched over my laptop like usual. The PI, Sam, parked 2 houses down in an unmarked car. He had infrared cams set up, live feeds on his laptop, motion sensors linked to his phone. I stayed at his place for safety, watching everything through the feed. At 2:04 a.m., the motion alert pinged. A figure appeared at the far end of the street. Thin, slow, hair tied in a bun. Carrying something, a bag? A coat? No. A box. Mira. She didn't knock. Didn't try to sneak around back. She just stood at the curb watching the window like it was a movie screen. Then she did something I'll never forget. She pulled a tiny plastic chair out of the box, sat down on the curb like a kid at story time, and began talking to herself. Sam zoomed in. Her lips moved nonstop. No audio, but her face changed, smiling, crying, laughing, rage. Like she was having a full-on conversation with me through the glass, even though I wasn't even there. Then she pulled out a photo album. Started flipping through it like she was reading a bedtime story. Every few pages, she'd pause, point at a picture, and nod. We couldn't see the photos, but I knew what was inside. Old family photos. Me as a toddler. She stayed there for 42 minutes. Then she got up, crossed the lawn, right up to the window. Sam whispered, "She's testing us." She leaned in close, pressed her forehead to the glass, just stood there, breathing, fogging it up. Then, with one slow finger, she wrote something in the condensation. "You're not real." Sam was about to call it in when she reached into her coat and pulled out a knife. Not a kitchen one. Not some dramatic hunting blade. It was an X-Acto knife. Precise, personal, surgical. She stared at the hoodie decoy again, then slashed the air like she was practicing. Not at the window, at herself. She cut a line down her arm, watched the blood, smiled. Then she licked the blade. Sam swore under his breath and called dispatch. Police were on their way. But Mira, she didn't wait. She stepped back, looked up at the window like she was disappointed in me, then turned and walked away, calmly, gracefully, still holding the blade. The cops searched the neighborhood. She vanished again, but she left the box behind. I didn't want to open it. I begged Sam to take it straight to forensics, but he said we needed to know what was inside. So we opened it together. It was full of replicas. Miniature versions of my childhood bedroom. Handcrafted from popsicle sticks and fabric scraps. My wallpaper. My bedspread. Even the tiny glow-in-the-dark stars I used to stick on the ceiling. And right in the middle of the box, a tiny doll. That looked like me. Hair dyed the same. Tiny moles painted on. A scar on the knee. Pinned to the chest with a sewing needle. Sam looked shaken. "This is obsession on a ritualistic level," he said. "This isn't about you anymore. It's about whatever version of you she's built in her head." Then he pulled a slip of paper out from under the doll. Myra's handwriting. "She's not safe in this world. I'm building her a better one. I just need more time." That's when I snapped. I was done hiding. Done playing prey. This was no longer about protection. This was about confrontation. We decided to bait her again. But this time it wouldn't be fake. I returned to the house. Alone. I didn't tell my parents. Didn't tell friends. Only Sam knew, and he was set up in the car, armed and ready. I left the lights off. Sat on the bed. Waited. At 2:43 a.m. I heard the door creak. Not a knock. Not a break-in. Just a soft creak, like she'd picked the lock and was slipping in like she'd done it 100 times before. I didn't move. Footsteps padded softly down the hall. No shoes. Just socks. Then the door opened. Mira stood there. Face pale. Eyes wild. She was holding the doll box like it was a baby. And she smiled. Like we were reuniting after years apart. "You came back," she whispered. I didn't say a word. She stepped closer. "I knew you would. You felt it, didn't you? That this world isn't safe. That they never really understood you. But I do. I always have. Closer. I've been building something better. Somewhere soft. Somewhere they won't reach you. I have food. I have your stories. I even found your favorite socks, the pink ones with the clouds." I flinched. She took that as a sign. Dropped the box. Reached for me. I pulled the pepper spray from under my pillow and blasted her straight in the face. She screamed, not just from the pain, but from betrayal. "No, no, no, you promised," she wailed, clawing at her eyes. Sam burst in seconds later. Tackled her. Cuffed her. The whole time she was screaming. Crying. Begging. But not like she was scared of being arrested, like she was losing a child. She's not safe out here, she sobbed. They're poisoning her. Her mind, her body, her soul. I was just trying to save her. She's now in custody. Officially charged with stalking, breaking and entering, unlawful surveillance, and criminal possession of a weapon. They're doing psych evaluations to determine if she's fit to stand trial. But the part that haunts me? The therapist on the case reached out. Said Mira isn't showing signs of psychosis. No schizophrenia. No hallucinations. She's calm, articulate, chillingly logical. She doesn't believe she's sick. She just believes I'm hers. And she told them. It's okay. They think they've won. But she's already in the house I built. She just hasn't realized it yet. I haven't slept in 4 days. Because sometimes when I walk past a mirror, I think I see her behind me. Smiling. It's been 5 months since Mira was arrested. She's in a psychiatric facility now. High security, round-the-clock surveillance. And this time, no favors. No sympathy. No more, she's just misunderstood. The court heard everything, the doll, the midnight visits, the knife, the box, the tape recordings, all of it. She was declared mentally unstable, yes. But she was also deemed dangerous. They didn't send her to some peaceful countryside retreat. She's in a locked ward with zero contact to the outside world. And I've taken my life back. I moved. Not just houses, cities. New apartment, new locks, new routines. I changed my phone number. Wiped my digital presence. Took a sabbatical from work and therapy to fully detox from the mess she dragged me into. I even legally changed my name. At first, I was scared it wouldn't matter. That no matter how far I went, I'd always look over my shoulder. But you know what surprised me? Peace came back gradually. It was in the little things, the first time I made coffee without checking the window. The first shower I took without wedging a chair against the bathroom door. The first time I laughed at something dumb on TV without feeling guilty for letting my guard down. I kept expecting a relapse. A package. A call. A shadow. But none came. The PI Sam stayed in touch. He confirmed Myra's facility had no breaches, no suspicious activity, no messages sneaking out. And then he sent me something that made me cry for the first time in months, but this time not from fear. It was the burn log. Everything Mira had made of me, the photos, the dolls, the miniatures, the boxes, was cataloged and destroyed. There was a document to prove it. A signed affidavit. A photo of the fire pit. Every twisted token she created? Ashes. That night, I lit a candle. Opened my windows. Played my favorite music. And I danced. Because she doesn't own any part of me anymore. And then, like fate was waiting for that moment, something beautiful happened. I got an email. From an old friend I hadn't talked to in years. She said, I saw your story in the news. I just want to say you're stronger than you know. And I'm proud of you. That turned into a coffee meetup. That turned into new friends. That turned into a job offer. That turned into life coming back. Now I volunteer at a women's shelter on weekends. I talk to girls who've faced stalkers, obsessive exes, broken homes. I tell them what I wish someone had told me. You are not what they tried to make you. You are not the version they built in their head. You're still you. And you're allowed to be okay again. I even started journaling again, something I'd stopped doing after Mira started quoting my private thoughts back at me. But now, my words are mine again. And today, as I write this, I realize something. The creepiest thing Mira ever did wasn't the stalking, or the photos, or the box. It was trying to convince me I was only safe inside the world she built. But guess what? I built my own. One with real people, real joy, real safety. She made a prison. I made a home. And I never plan on going back.